Good morning, everybody. Vince McSham with you here. And this is the 2K19 debut of Open Mic Night. Whole new process that we're going to be going through here. Format in which you, our loyal viewers, will be able to interact right here live and in living color. We'll be doing this anytime there's some decent news to discuss in the world of professional wrestling, which I think we've covered that today. All right, so in the last week or so, we've had two major events take place. One of them, of course, was Evolution with the women, and the other one was in a country where women are not allowed. And that, of course, the crown jewel yesterday. Oh, was that spectacular. Truly a special, special event, no doubt about that. So we're going to talk about this all here in a second. Just want to tweak one thing here real quick, if I can. Let's see. I'll go that way, and all right, that should do it. All right, here we go. So, yes, we're going to be discussing some of the events that have taken place here in the last week or so in the world of professional wrestling. And we're going to kick it off with Evolution since that came first. The ladies' night, so to speak. And it was a pretty big night when it comes to the women's division. Gave them all an opportunity to be seen, including a lot of the women who really got this thing going all the way back to a Lunger Blaze. And it was nice to see so many different people throughout the course of the last 20 years and maybe even a little bit more getting the opportunity to be seen and given credit for their contributions to the point where now the women were given a night all to themselves where they were able to really shine in the spotlight. Now, in my mind, I'm kind of comparing and contrasting these two events since they were so closely held together a week apart. Actually, I think a little less than a week. And, look, both had their positives, both had their negatives, not going to lie. There was definitely some stuff that they each could have done better, and there was some stuff that could have been a whole lot worse. As I just resize things a little bit so it's easier for everybody to see, myself included. Yeah, turn down your radios. There you go. Nice. You ever seen that when they call in live on one of those talk shows and all you hear is the echo in the background? It's like, dude, how many times does the caller tell you on the line to turn off your radio? So anyway, again, the ladies had, I thought, a really good showing, all things considered. Love the opening Battle Royal. I thought they did. I'm not a Battle Royal fan. It's hard to make a good Battle Royal, but they did it. They did a good tribute all the way around. The Iconics got dumped out right in the beginning of the match. It was perfect for the way they entered the ring. You had all the legends kind of circling the wagon, getting their wagon circled, I should say, by all the current crop, and it was a good story for a Battle Royale. I mean, it's only so much you can do with a Battle Royale, and I thought they did it, and I thought they did it well. Give credit where credit is due. That said, I think you could have probably done a better job by coming up with a different winner. Now we're looking at Nia Jax going up against the current champ, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Ronda already kick her ass first? I mean, we just went through that. Nia's not a great in-ring performer. Their two styles don't work well together. I just think that was not a good choice, and up until that, I thought they were doing well. That all said, I'm looking forward to seeing how Becky Lynch and Ronda perform at the Survivor Series. I think it's going to be a really good showdown there. Both women like to use an arm bar. I think there's just a good story to be told, and that could have some good stuff with that. And, of course, both are very good in-ring performers. Expect Becky is going to kick the crap out of Ronda on the microphone for the next 2 weeks because Ronda's mic skills are just not there. All right, moving on to the match. We're going to have to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly in this case were some of the botches, and there were a lot to be had. Now, look, you're going to have botches. That's just the way it is. But the ladies' botches seem to be pretty pronounced. Rousey versus Jax was interrupted by Bliss cashing in. Yeah, true that. But do we still need to see it anymore? I mean, that actually made it tolerable. Because up until that point, it just, I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. So as we talk about the glitches, one of my favorites, and it was early on, Sasha Banks trying to go over the top rope and, cross-body splash against the members outside the ring of the Riot Squad, and she didn't barely clear the ropes. Ended up bouncing off the apron, then they catch her, and then they act like she came crashing down on them, and it was so bad. Later on in the match, or the night, I should say, what was the other one we had? There were several really bad ones. One of the ones in particular took place in probably the best match of the night, no big surprise. Charlotte against Becky for the title. Last woman standing match. And Becky's in the figure 8 and can't get out of it. And unfortunately, the chair she's going to use to break the hold is a little too far away, so the referee kind of helps her get it. Nobody noticed that, though, right? Not just me. I was the only one that saw that. There were just a lot of those spots, unfortunately, which, in my opinion, probably tainted things just a little bit. But what do you guys think? How did you like Evolution overall? For those of you that watch, I know a lot of people didn't watch it. I think that's a mistake. I think there was some good wrestling to be had on the show. And if you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. Even if you only skip through matches a little bit, catch some of the action because I think it's worth it. I'll tell you, the highlight for me was the NXT women's match. The title match there with, what's up, Primetime? Where you had Kairi Sane going up against Shayna Baszler. I'll tell you right now, Kairi Sane did a crossbody off the top rope to the floor with hang time, with just, it was a swan spread, and she just flew and nailed her target, and it looked legit, man. It was like Ricky Steamboat, eat your heart out. And I agree, it was one of the better pay-per-views of the year, no doubt about it. And they did work hard. Yeah, there were botches, but they put everything out there. You can't knock it. It would have been nice if there would have been a match that would have been of the level of Sasha Banks and Bayley from TakeOver Brooklyn. And it didn't really happen. You didn't have that match. And why those two were not featured in a singles match with that piece of history is beyond me. They should have rolled the dice and said, let's see if lightning can strike twice, because we know they delivered once. Shayna is so good, man. I'll tell you what. I enjoy watching her in the ring. I mean, the transition has been seamless. And it's clear now that they are setting up the 4 Horsewomen versus the 4 Horsewomen for WrestleMania. That's going to be another one that's going to be epic. So looking forward to that. That may be the match. That could be the first time women are the main event at WrestleMania. I won't be shocked. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen as the main event. But if you were going to, that would be a good one. Yes, I agree. The hang time was just phenomenal on Kairi's crossbody, and it was just perfect, man. I remember sitting back going, damn, man, that looked good. And I, sir, am not Rick Springfield, so I will not eat my heart out. All right. Evolution, we move to... You knew we were gonna, right? Crown Jewel. What about the Crown Jewel? Oh, my goodness. So much to say, so much to say. Now, as most of you guys probably have heard by now, I got rid of the WWE Network because they were going over to Saudi Arabia to do this after all that's happened, and I just felt like, you know, for what I can do, I can say no more. However, somebody on YouTube posted the entire event. 69, what's his name there? 69 Gaming has the whole event up there. Granted, he's got it like shrunk down to like a quarter of a screen. This way it doesn't get caught by the filters and all that, but it's there. And I skimmed through a lot of it. I watched some, skimmed through some, but I can tell you this. It sucked. It was just really, really bad. Really, really bad. All right. I guess I didn't hear or get that memo. It was made, there was an announcement made maybe a day or two prior, which I'd never heard a word about. That is that Hulk Hogan is back. I didn't know. So I was really legitimately like, holy shit, when he showed up, especially there of all places. But it kind of makes sense. You're already going to piss off a lot of people, and you're already going to get a lot of heat for being in Saudi Arabia after what happened. You might as well bring the racist guy back then, too. And just, it's like ripping the Band-Aid off. Let's just do it all today. Get it done. Move forward. So Hogan came out. He's like the all-American hero before he started saying the N-word in Saudi Arabia. How do you expect that to be received? It wasn't well received. You know, he didn't get a mega pop, nor did Kurt Angle. Why? Olympic gold medalist. They don't give a shit about that. They're Saudi Arabia. But it was good to see Hogan's officially back. I've always said, listen, if you were to block every guy in the locker room that either currently has said the N-word or in Hogan's generation said the N-word, you would have no Hall of Fame. You would have half your roster. It's a word that has been thrown around, quite honestly, by as many black people as white people, so let's just call it like it is. You can't have a word that only one race is allowed to use. It doesn't work that way. Well, yeah, they probably were to a certain degree. Let's just get this done and get out of here. And boy, they really do pay a price before the show's over. At the same point in time, I'm kind of glad the folks in Saudi Arabia got a really shit show. You guys deserved it. For all you've done, couldn't happen to a nicer country. That's all I can say. So when we talk about the shit, let's talk about the shit. First off, one of the big matches of the night, Brock Lesnar going up against Braun Strowman for the now vacant WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Oh, my goodness. Talk about a monkey fucking a football. Talk about screwing the pooch. This was so bad in every possible way. First, you got Baron Corbin taking the belt, smashing it into the head of the big man who wasn't expecting it. Well, of course, story kayfabe-wise. And then Lesnar basically just hits him with 5 F5s until he can finally pin him. Well, that was a great match, man. World title match. Major pay-per-view. Nothing says 5 stars. That's 1 star per F5. Piece of shit. Spit all over the belt by doing it. And just to cap it off, you gave it to the one guy who's not around any time to defend it. Which is why you put it on Roman in the first place. The most ass-backward booking I've ever seen. Now, granted, they're going to probably put it on Cena or somebody in 2 weeks' time. But, man, I'll tell you what, just not well done at all. Not a surprise, though. I got to say, not surprised at all. Nothing they do anymore really surprises me. All right, we're going to move on to the feature match. The feature match was a tag team match featuring, basically they cleaned out the old-timers home near Saudi Arabia, and they brought a bunch of guys back out of retirement that should still be in retirement. So you got a bunch of 50-year-olds that are broken down. I am sorry, Shawn Michaels, man, you grow some hair. You can go short hair, not a problem. But the bald thing doesn't work, buddy. Oh, it was so hard to look at him bald. Look, for his age, and the fact he hasn't been in the ring in 8.5 years, he didn't do bad at all. I was so worried about him, though. He's doing moonsaults onto the floor and landing awkwardly. It's just like, you don't need to be doing this. Look what happened with Sting, man. One match too many. Damn near end up paralyzed. Well, they probably weren't going to give Braun a title match at a pay-per-view. They didn't have a choice. Did Michael Cole say there he is going back to the same move now? I don't understand the question. He may have, though, by the way. I don't even know. And nobody likes a part-time champion, especially when it's your world champion and you're the biggest wrestling company on the face of the earth. Bad booking. But I do think he loses it in 2 weeks' time. He has to. Absolutely has to. All right, so what else happens? Triple H tears his pectoral muscle on the right side early in the match. Again, trying to do shit that at his age he should not be doing. He has a spot where he's kind of pulling the Ric Flair, going into the turnbuckle, going to flip upside down, end up on the apron, and probably take the fall outside the ring. And he does all that. However, as he's going over the top rope and rolling, he grabs it to make sure he doesn't fall on his face, and he tears his right pectoral muscle badly. His right arm is rendered ineffective the rest of the match. He can't use it. It's obvious. And everything is with his left hand, doing a bunch of knife-edge chops with his left hand, trying to throw punches with his left hand. He just could not perform with his right side for the majority of the match, and it showed. The Iron Sheik. Well, interesting reference. Prime time, I'm not sure. I would think Shaky Baby has an opinion. So here's Trips trying to wrestle with one arm. He has, and now here's Shawn Michaels. Let's think about this: 9.5 years or 8.5 years on the shelf. You know that when Triple H sold this match to him, dude, I'll take care of the work. You come in, hit a couple of spots, give the people a little pop. I'll carry the load. Don't worry about it, brother. All of a sudden, he's out on the floor. Michaels rolls over to him, and he's like, "It's all you, buddy. I got nothing." Now, I got to give credit. What Triple H did, though, for the remainder of that match, because he did, even with the bad arm, get involved in it. He took a choke slam through a table. He ended up trying his hardest to throw a right hand here and there. He went into the ropes, took some bumps. the amount of pain he had to be in while he was especially in the ring performing. Guys, I can't even imagine what that feels like. I mean, I can tell you experience from having pinched nerves in the neck and stuff like that, and that sucks all kinds of balls. But to have a muscle torn off and have to do what he did for the next 10 to 15 minutes, I give you, wrestlers are a special breed of human being. And the fact that they say we're going to finish this match in that condition, they put some up there with NHL hockey players. Ah, it was a 2K19 reference. Now I got you. And I've had caffeine all night long. That's why I'm still able to be up and hang out with y'all. All right. Now let's kind of backtrack a little bit to the real fiasco of the night. You have a tournament. Your finalists, one of which is The Miz against Dolph Ziggler in what should prove to be a decent match. The Miz fakes an injury, kayfabe, because he's never been injured. That's his call to fame. And it wasn't even a sellable injury. I mean, I've seen people land awkwardly where you're not sure if they're really hurt or not. There's no question in the world that he was not hurt. And all of a sudden, Shane is going to finish the match. Shane, who has not wrestled in the tournament, is suddenly... So, let's see. The Los Angeles Dodgers all of a sudden have a couple injured players, so the Yankees are going to get thrown into the World Series Finals against the Red Sox. It doesn't work that way. Now, I know it's phony baloney wrestling and it's scripted crap, but man, the way to shit on this match, because you really gave it zero value by inserting Shane McMahon into the main event or the final of the event. And to make it even worse, you let him win. The greatest wrestler in the world. If that were true, then you need to just shut it down. I love Shane O'Mac, but he ain't the greatest wrestler in the world in his best day. So that pretty much covers the news of the last week and things that were just kind of weighing heavy on my mind, that I'm sitting back saying, how in the world did this happen? And I still don't know. A lot of it is still amazing to me that we got to where we got, but we did. We're there. It's real. I don't know what made them do it. I honestly, I can't. It had to be written in because Miz was not hurt. He did not land awkwardly or anything like that. He sold it well. Everything after the bad landing, and bad meaning you did not make me think you got hurt. Everything after that, he sold well. He acted really well as somebody who was injured. If you could have rolled the ankle or something and made it look more convincing. Now watch we turn on wrestling on Monday night and find out that he's actually got to have orthoscopic surgery on his knee or some shit. But I don't think so. Although I'm sure they're going to have to milk it now come Monday. They're going to have to totally put him in a cat. Or Tuesday, I take it back, SmackDown, right? So he was supposed to be now banned and removed from SmackDown because he didn't win. However, I would suggest that since Shane got to be the greatest wrestler in the world, Saudi Arabia, here's to you, buddies. You definitely got what you deserved, and right about now, they're starting to sit back there and think to themselves, we got fucked. And they may want out of this maybe that's what this was all about. Maybe this is a WWE's way of letting Saudi Arabia cancel out on the contract so that they don't have to pay the money back. This could be a very shrewd move by Vinnie Mac. I'm not so sure I believe that, but it's possible. Well, all I know is it was not a good event. It was not even close to a good event. Evolution more than surpassed it. And they got no promotion in the week leading up to that event, which is pathetic. Is there anyone out there that actually thought there was any part of Crown Jewel that did not suck? And if so, what the heck was it? Because I missed that part. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it feels like it was a deliberate attempt at giving them the shittiest product possible, because they did. I hate to think they were trying to give them, a Saudi version of WrestleMania, because I'm here to tell you, man, that reminded me, the last time I saw a pay-per-view and walked away with that feeling was WCW Uncensored, the very first one. Not that they ever got better after that, but that very first Uncensored, and if you haven't seen that, you must go watch it. And go in with that same attitude of, I don't know about anyone else out there, but there are times where I'm just in the mood to watch a movie that I know is bad. Really bad. It's so bad, it's good. And there have been some really famous ones over the years and that's the way I look at WCW Uncensored, the very first one, where they're whopping each other over the head, literally, with bags of cotton candy. Because that is going to hurt. This is when they were trying to compete with ECW. So they got some made-up concession stand that nobody's actually using for anything. It falls apart after like 2 seconds, and the only thing at this concession stand is bags of cotton candy, and they're whopping each other with them. It's like two dudes having a pillow fight.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you something right now. I have watched wrestling for a number of years. I've been in the ring many, many times, and I thought this was a travesty from start to finish. In my opinion, this is probably the worst thing on the WWE network in the last 12 months.
All right, that's Jesse chiming in with his opinion. Well, I mean, look, I still think Ronda should have ended Asuka's streak. I thought that for sure was what they were building up to, and I think they missed the boat on that. The only thing I can figure is they decided, look, Asuka's still not really fluent in English. Ronda's green and needs to work with people that she can communicate well with in the ring. So I think that might have had something to do with why that didn't happen that way. I don't care that she lost to Charlotte. She was going to lose sooner or later. And if you're going to lose and not have it to Ronda, then it better be Charlotte. I have a problem with the fact that she hasn't done anything since, and they've just kind of thrown her away on the back burner, put her in a fucking battle royal. Are you kidding me? Really? Well, you see, here's the thing, Theo. If you would have watched Uncensored, then it would have been the same as if you would have watched Crown Jewel. They're right there on par with one another. But again, if you've not seen it, you have to, because you... And keep in mind, that was a legitimate pay-per-view. People paid $30 to watch that. And I may have been one of them. Just saying.
You're welcome, Prime Time, anytime.
And yeah, like I said, I think it's 69 Gaming or something like that is the channel name. He's got the whole event up there already, and it's like, that was the way to watch it. I'll tell you right now. It was much less painful that way. But WWE's in trouble unless they can do something here. It's just, I don't even know what to say anymore. All right, well, after you watch it, I want to hear your review, Theo. And don't be surprised if you can't fall asleep for a couple of days afterwards because it'll mess with your brain. What did I just see, man? What did I watch? If that wasn't the worst, and I'm trying to remember now, it may have been that same pay-per-view. That's the thing I can't remember. There was one where Dustin Rhodes fought the Blacktop Bully, a.k.a. the Repo Man, on the back of a moving flatbed tractor trailer. They were literally driving down an interstate while these two idiots fought in the back of a flatbed tractor trailer with like open wooden rails along the side so you could see what was going on. You had a chase car going alongside them. I think there was a helicopter camera as well. And I'm not sure if it sounds to me like that would have to be part of Uncensored. But if not, I guarantee you that match would be tied to another shit pay-per-view. But WCW had a lot of bad pay-per-views, so I got to believe Uncensored is the worst. I can't imagine anything being worse, although there's plenty of other ones out there that were terrible. I don't even remember. The only thing I remember about Uncensored, besides the fact that it was god-awful, was Arn Anderson having a terrible match. And I think he was involved in the whole popcorn and cotton candy thing. Which is why I was like, you got one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and this is not working. Because they didn't even understand what ECW was. Most of those guys probably never saw ECW ever at that time. And we're told, yeah. They fight in the concession stand, and they break things, and it's like, okay. But it was so bad. Now, David winning the WCW title, that was just a bad moment. I am talking about an event that from hour 1 to hour 3 was absolutely terrible. Everything was a 1-star match. It was just horrible. David won it in that mega cage match? Was that the deal? And by that time, they were just gone, man. First you put the belt on David Arquette. Then a little while later, you put it on fucking Vince Russo. I mean, come on. I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, yeah, all right. Vince McMahon put the belt on himself for a hot minute. Never defended it. Got rid of it quickly. And not for anything, Vince McMahon is jacked up at that time. And he can actually put on a match. Not like David Arquette, and certainly not like Vince Russo, although Russo would do better than Arquette. And it would be feasible that Vince, muscled up, could possibly, on one lucky night, win a match for the world title. All right, so he won it on then what did he lose it in the cage thing, right? There was that mega cage or something like that. I know that somehow he was involved in that mega cage thing, and I think he lost it at that event. But again, at that point, it was unwatchable. Some of the worst wrestling of all time took place at that time frame in WCW's history. I mean, that was like PN News bad. Now, I don't want to see all the PN News fans start coming out now defending him, because there are no PN News fans. Guy was fucking horrible. And the only thing worse than David Arquette might have been David Flair. They talk about trying to pound a round peg into a square hole. Wow. So the Saturday morning superstars, first off, it will not be every Saturday because they will all be like pre-recorded things that I just edited up. And as I was doing this first one, I already have a slightly different format in mind for future ones. But it's all going to be just WWE superstars. I'm trying to feature a lot of the ones that would have been in the old Hulk Hogan Rock and Wrestling cartoon. But at the same time, we're going to also bounce it around to some of the guys that weren't in that show. So pretty much anyone who's on the current WWF programming that I'm running on this channel is up for grabs. You could easily see them. I wanted to do some other stuff with it as well, but the only thing you can do with the cell shading and the big head feature is in an actual match and has to be in exhibition mode. So it's like I could do cutscenes, and I thought that would be kind of fun, and put like cartoon music in the background, do some voiceover stuff, but there's no way to either get the cell shading nor the big head feature, so... And Doc and Gordy just signed, so you'll be seeing them soon. I'm actually going to be, right after I go off this stream, working on Michael P.S. Hayes. I found one, I think it was by the same guy who made Bam Bam Terry Gordy, and if you haven't seen the video on that, how I upgraded him. After all that time in work and upgrading him, I was like, shit, I should have just made him from scratch, because then I could have uploaded him for the community, which now I can't because technically it's not my figure and it won't let me. So when I saw that he had Michael Hayes up, but that again, same thing, the face has no details and it's pretty much a blank canvas, I said, never mind, I'm just going to start from scratch on my own. So that's kind of where I'm going to be doing in just a little while here. And hopefully in a couple hours I'll have that knocked out. U.S. Express, Barry Windham, Mike Rotundo, definitely one of my all-time favorites as well. I haven't decided if I'm going to be using Rotundo yet this season. I don't have one currently, but I'm also not looking for one. We do have a bunch of new names that will be coming into WCW over the next week. Those that have not yet been shown on 2K19 season that I've been tweaking a little bit. A couple of them are not mine, but I still had to tweak them out a little bit to make them the way I want them. Right now, I do not have any anticipation of a Z-Man at all. I'm not making one, so unless I see someone makes one that I really like, and that'd be the only chance. I know Tongueless made one last year, which was good, and I had every intention of using him. I just ran out of time. It was one of the characters that he came out with probably with only like 2 months left in the season, and I had so much going on at that point in time already. With Rise coming up, that's about the same time I started with Rise, and I just didn't have enough time to work him into a program. So I would say probably not going to see Z-Man. But Pillman's definitely there. The idea of making Mike Rotundo IRS to me, I'd say, is about as likely as me making Terry Taylor the Red Rooster. I will never do either of those things because to me they're both sacrilegious. That was a point in time where I swear to God, I think there was some like boner club in the back where Vince and Pat just came up with ideas of the dumbest idea. We're going to throw it on them and see one-man gang. One-man gang. Here's a guy who's legit big, badass, not bad moving big guy, you know, and street thug and all that good shit. And here comes Akeem, the African Dream. What? What the hell was that? Now, personally, Dusty with polka dots, I didn't think, I mean, that was according to everybody, that was a rib. That was them, Vince trying to get even with Dusty. Like, what Dusty did to him? He was on the other program, that's all. And, of course, Dusty's Dusty. He can get anything over, and he did. He was so eccentric anyway, and he was so flamboyant. Polka Dots didn't hurt his character at all. But Akeem coming out as a soul brother and trying to talk like he's a soul brother. Oh, my goodness. That was bad. If I'm doing one-man gang, it'll probably be in WWF, not WCW, and I don't see me making one. That's not to say I may not do it. I did one last year. I don't really know that I want to make one this year, but like I said, Tongueless made one last year. Again, he waited till like the last month or two, and I wish it would have been earlier in the year because I would have really run a good program with that one. It looked so friggin' good. Let's just say no on Shockmaster and move on, shall we? Shockmaster, who lasted all of, 3 days in the WCW. I was there live when that happened, by the way. That was in Daytona, Florida, part of the not Great American Bash, but the Clash of the Champions. And we were sitting caddy corner directly across from the wall he entered through, so we had a perfect view of this. And there was that moment where we're like, was that supposed to happen? Okay, how was Virgil a rib on Dusty in any way, shape, or form? For that matter, how was Akeem? I mean, the polka dots I get, and it backfired because he got it over. But how were Virgil and Akeem a rib on Dusty? Nah, Shockmaster will never make me laugh. That was so bad. And again, we were there. We saw the whole thing go down. It was terrible. Oh, yeah, but Virgil was Virgil long before Dusty came in. How's that a rib on Dusty? I still don't get it. I mean, Virgil was Virgil all the way back to, $1 Million Man when he first started with the belt. Dusty wasn't even around. The Master Blasters, I remember the name. I can't remember who they were. Big guys, right? Kind of heavy set. I like the Awesome Kongs. I remember them. They were entertaining. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. It's like they were ready to make this guy a monster, and they were going to roll with him, and it's like, okay, well, that's done. I was listening to some shoot interview the other day where Flair was talking about that. It's like, yeah, and then, it comes through the wall, and we were done at that point. We knew we couldn't do anything with that. Okay, that's not who I was thinking then. No, the Awesome Kongs I kind of like because they look like a couple of mini Vaders. Yeah, I can only imagine what Dusty was thinking because I think he was one of the guys that really came up with that whole storyline. So we told him, baby, that here's what's going to happen, man. You're going to come walking through the wall, man. You're going to be coming in like the Incredible Hulk, baby. And then you're going to look at them and you're going to just start scared of living life out of it. And you're going to start throwing people around the set, baby. You're going to tear everything apart, man, because you're going to be the unstoppable Oh, shit, baby. We're going to have to do something else, baby. That's over now. Yeah, that bad guy thing, that monster thing, yeah, it's not for you. It's going to be for somebody else now, baby. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for playing. Maybe you could go be a tugboat someplace. Diamond Stud. Ugh. God, some of the gimmicks they came out with. I miss Dusty, man. He had some good stories. By the way, in the United States, this Tuesday is Election Day, and Jim Cornette's already losing his fucking mind. Come Tuesday, if the Republicans do what I think they're going to do, which is absolutely clean the clocks of the Democrats, Jim Cornette is going to explode on the air. Tune in. I told y'all he blocked me, right? I didn't even say anything. I offered a counter opinion on something. I don't even remember what the hell it was. It was respectful. It wasn't like, you stupid motherfucker or anything like that. And he blocked me. That's like, yeah, that's how they work. When you can't make an intelligent argument, you just block people. He's a brilliant guy in the world of wrestling. Yeah, there you go again. Tailor-made man. How about Richard Morton? That was a good idea, wasn't it? We're going to turn Ricky Morton heel. Because nothing says heel like a guy who's 5'10", weighing $180. I mean, it works if you're Jimmy Harper, you're a manager. How do you get in the ring and keep the mullet, but you're a bad guy now? Was that a Jim Herd Day thing? That had to be Jim Herd. It reeks of Jim Herd. Oh, yeah, Jim Cornette blocked me totally. Yeah, I talked about that. It was like 2 months ago. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing his stuff because somebody was like, oh, did you see what Cornette posted? I'm like, actually, no, I hadn't. And I go back there and I'm looking through my feed and I didn't see anything in my news. And then I went over to his thing and it says, this user has blocked you. I'm like, oh, fuck you. Joke's on him. I have more than one, so I've got him on one of my other ones. I just don't respond to him because I know he's a 5-year-old mentality and he can't handle a counter opinion to his own. But I still love him. I'd still buy him a beer. I'd still sit down and talk with him. I know he wouldn't. I'm telling you something right now. And I don't... Whatever. The ding-dongs I thought were fun. I enjoyed the ding-dongs. I'm in the vast minority, and I understand that, and I don't give a shit. But I liked the ding-dongs. And I know that was a Jim Herd thing because, damn, everyone that does a shoot interview from WCW at that time will tell you he gave us the fucking ding-dongs. And I'm like, well, then that was the only thing he did right because I actually enjoyed them. I never saw Jim Herd trying to be like the WWF. I mean, God knows their product wasn't like the WWF. It was barely wrestling. You saw who at OVW? They had Jim Cornette, not Jim Herd. Armstrong and some others were okay. They were okay. The Southern Boys, they did okay. They were kind of like the next answer to the, whatchamacallit there? Fantastics. Fantastics kind of were either winding down their time in WCW or had just left. Then they brought in the Southern Boys. So they were that, B/C level team that was going to get in the mid-card, make a little run for a title, maybe get it for a couple of weeks to a month, and then drop it again. Well, one thing's for sure. If I ever met Jim Cornette, I would totally shake his hand and, chat with him a bit. I would not talk politics with him for 2 minutes because I know that'd be the end of that meeting. Yeah, there you go, Sean. That's the smart way to do it. I've got somebody at work, and, man, she is just like the ultimate Trump hater. And we could have a conversation. I think she's Looney Tunes because she has no even arguments to make as to why she feels the way she does. I don't have a problem if somebody has a different opinion, but at least have something to support it. She has nothing. Anytime I ask her a direct question about, well, what makes you feel this way or what makes you think this, she can't give me anything other than she just comes back to, I just hate that son of a bitch. I hate that. Okay, well, that's not much of an argument, but it's your opinion. You're entitled to it. Now, no more Midnight Express this year. We're going Bobby Eaton, singles career at this point in time, and I'm enjoying that because he had a good singles run, deserves to get some of that rub here on the network. I've never done a singles run with Bobby Eaton ever, and each year I try to find some, keeping it old school, but always trying to find something that I haven't done before. Remind me, Sean, where is up here? Pennsylvania? Or I guess in Ohio, right? Since you went to OVW. Yeah, no, we didn't do the Express of the Face, but I'm not bringing in Stan Lane this year. I've got no use for him. Yes, he did have a TV title run. I was actually kind of hoping he was going to beat Anderson at Halloween Havoc, and shit, that didn't happen that way. Bob Eaton was not only a good worker, but he flat out performed, man. His interviews weren't great, but that was back at a time where most of them didn't have great interview skills. You had Flair, you had Dusty, you had Arn, and that was really all you had. Everybody else just kind of yelled at the microphone, or, Barry Windham was never a great mic guy, but, still sold tickets, still put on an excellent match. I mean, Kerry Von Erich... A microphone to Kerry Von Erich was kryptonite to Superman. And he's a former world champion. He was a great in-ring performer. Arguably the best physical, talented Von Erich of all of them. He just couldn't talk on a microphone. Back then, it didn't matter so much. Yeah, they did have that match, Clash of the Champions. Flair gave him a little bit of a rub in that one. Made him, period. He ends up getting Flair with a pinfall, or it had to be a pinfall, wouldn't be a submission. And forced the third fall, and it was a great match. Really put him on the map. Louisville, Kentucky, Sean. Well, I'm pretty sure Cornette, who's probably against putting walls up, will have one up there if I was coming in. Well, we already had the Dangerous Alliance last season, and it's already carried over to this season. So there is a Dangerous Alliance already. Yeah, I was generally okay with the Halloween Havoc show. I'm still really cannot believe. I thought after the patch for sure the tag team thing would be fixed, and it's not. So now when you have an AI match with tag team wrestlers, they will never do their tag team finisher, which is kind of stupid. And also, one thing I didn't realize it until just recently is, like, if I put a card together and then, like, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Let's say I'm going to air it tomorrow, but I want to put it together tonight. And I got a title match or two on the card. Then I go back tomorrow, I'm ready to stream, and all of a sudden the title matches are non-title matches. So I got to go back and make them title matches and then play it at that time. I can't, once you back out of universe mode, it's not a title match anymore. That's a pain in the ass. Yeah, I remember the Baby Doll. That was after Cornette went down off of the scaffold, and yeah, Baby Doll had to fill in. Bubba Rogers had to fill in a lot because Jim Cornette simply couldn't be at ringside at all after he blew out the knee. Like I said, I would really like to meet him at some point in time and just talk to him, man, and listen to his stories, because there isn't a better storyteller that I've ever come across. Maybe Mick Foley. Not better, but at least in that same category. But I don't know. It's just something about his cadence, the tone of his voice. He uses the word fuck a lot. I like that. He doesn't just throw it out there. It's used strategically. Almost like, Rembrandt paint on a canvas. It's his medium. Lightning Express are okay. Again, not my favorite team, though. What's the matter, Jackson? Somebody chasing you for tax money? You that guy who was trying to collect taxes off me a few years ago? Oh, yeah, no. Cornette's got plenty of podcasts up on YouTube you can listen to. He hates Tim Horner with a passion. And it wasn't always like that. He used to like the guy. Yeah, he goes into the whole story about, I think it was Louisville Wrestling at the time. There was some wrestling going on down there, and Horner was like one of his guys. I don't remember if he ran off with some money from like a house show or something like that. But, yeah, he is absolutely hated by Jim Cornette. All righty then. All right, well, listen, gentlemen. I've got to wrap things up here because I want to get to work on this Michael P.S. Hayes and get him up and running here if I can. Contemplating a Jimmy Garvin. I just don't know if I'm feeling that or not. But Michael Hayes, I want to get that one up. And in the meantime, thank you for joining me for Open Mic Night. Thank you for those of you that took a look at Saturday Morning Superstars. Again, that won't be every Saturday, but you'll know when it's happening, okay? Let's put it that way. They'll all be done the same way it was done today with a little premiere countdown and all that stuff. Most of the times I'll be around for it as well, just so we can all bullshit a little bit about it and have some Hulk Hogan rock and wrestling memories.
What's she gonna do, brother? Now that Hulkamania's back, man.
All right. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. I don't think there's any more pay-per-views this week, are there? I think the WWE blew their wad, so to speak, and it was messy. So messy. Everybody stay safe. Late Monday night, early Tuesday morning, we'll be back with another stream. It'll be WCW in action. Don't miss it. Take care. See you next time from ringside.